We are here with the final boss of Q-Tag injury-laden NBA slates, but we're going to do what we always do here on the Splash Play NBA channel. We're going to dig in and compare my projections. Some of the industry leaders out there, like Stokastic, like our friends at Unabated. We're also going to see what the best bets are at Unabated to get it in good, whether you're on the Pick'em sites or one of the major sportsbooks out there, DraftKings and FanDuel. Of course, we're going to sim some DFS lineups as well. By the end of this video, you'll know my splash plays and pretty much all the must plays. Today's NBA slate, March 5th, 2025. Let's get into it. Of course, our Q-Tag tweet brought to you by Underdog, even if technically the channel is not right now. We got the Q-Tags: Nikola Jokic, Jason Tatum, Ja Morant, Jaylen Brown, Tyler Hero, Julius Randle, Aaron Gordon, Jeremy Grant, Aaron Wiggins, Peyton Watson, Keyshawn George, though he's going to play, so that's been updated. Santi Aldama, Zeke Naji, Kai Jones. The Mavs have like nobody left. Kai Jones not playing would mean they have a literal 8-man rotation today. I'm checking the mic to make sure the audio is going. If you missed yesterday's show, where I talked for 2 minutes straight with the mic muted for no reason. We're not muted today. We're killing it. Yes, you can hear the opening. Thumbnail could be the one used for the sitcom. Oh, Spags. I think this particular face for me, I always think gay couple, but it does seem sitcom works. I think rom-com would also work. I think that we can kind of scratch both itches together, but I'll take it. And we got a lot of nice chats here. We got our greetings, our alohas, our what's up. Glad to see all you guys here. And when you're coming in, please make sure to hit that like button. Please subscribe as well. We are now 20 away from 1,000 subs. So please help a brother out. Hit the like button, subscribe, do all that. But let's get into my projections now. Pull up the tab and let's sort here. Had to do all the minutes updating myself today because Stokastic did not update before the show. Basically, got a lot of guys ruled out, including Rashawn Holmes was one that happened. I've been updating my data the entire day, so that's a whole lot we have going here. 90 sitcom freeze face. I'll take it. Honestly, I think these are better than how I view my own face, so I'll take it. Nikola Jokic, top protected player right now. He's questionable. I actually wrote him up today for the DraftKings network as part of my partnership with Unabated. If Jokic isn't in, Jamal Murray going to look infinitely better. Michael Porter Jr. going to look infinitely better. Also, huge EV on the overs for their PRAs bets, according to Unabated simulation tools. Aaron Gordon, who's also questionable, he would look better. If you got Jokic and Gordon, both those guys out, as currently questionable guys. DeAndre Jordan probably has to play high 20s minutes, you would think. He's, I think, likely to do that anyway if Jokic were out. Christian Brown locked into his minutes. Strother is out. Peyton Watson's a Q-Tag. If he's back in, he's probably getting decent minutes. So Denver's situation does matter quite a bit right now for this team and really the slate overall. Giannis, though, today doesn't project that far off me from Jokic. Gary Trent being out for the Bucks, not something that matters a lot, but basically you're going to be most likely replacing his minutes with Andre Jackson, who does even less on the court. So Giannis came up a little bit for me, as I've mentioned pretty much every slate lately. Without Middleton, without Portis on the court, Giannis gains the most in usage, gains the most in assist upside, whereas a guy like Lillard kind of comes down a little bit in both categories. That could certainly flip a little bit as the season goes on, but that's the way it's been for more than enough possessions. So Giannis is your big winner from, the Bucks being somewhat shorthanded at this point. He projects almost as well as Jokic to me today. So getting a lot of Jokic, getting a lot of Giannis though. 36% Jokic, 37% Giannis. And projection-wise, like if I'm running the optimizer, if I'm running the solver, I'm going to get more Giannis because I think he projects as a better value overall. So no issue with both guys. Getting 36% of both guys feels good. But you have to keep in mind that Giannis goes earlier on the slate. Giannis's game, I believe, locks at 8 p.m. Giannis locks versus Dallas. So like a really soft matchup. Locks at 8 p.m. The Denver game locks at 9 p.m. So you're going to have to decide then, if we don't know Jokic's status, do you just play Giannis and then you use him as your pay-up guy? Do you wait for Jokic and hope you get that EV, knowing that you might not have, you're going to have to pivot to SGA at that point to spend the money. You can do that as well. So that's sort of the way to handle it from a DFS perspective. Simmons and Derek Jones ruled out. It's not, they're expected to be out. Not a surprise there. And it's only matters for FanDuel anyway. So whatever. We got SGA at number 3, 21% ownership for the field. I'm only getting him at 7%. SGA. Oh, you know what? Actually, I do have, well, you know what? I have actually a thing that I've been playing with myself on the projections right now. Basically, I'm giving guys a boost in certain situations where if the Vegas total is really high, I'm giving guys a boost because I've noticed lately, sometimes my projections don't cover well enough. Some of the guys who have, really generous totals. Lately, some of the Atlanta games, Memphis, Atlanta being one of the more noteworthy ones. Games situation again here for OKC, Memphis, where the total in that game, 252.5 implied points between both teams. I want to get more exposure there. So I'm realizing now in these numbers, I do have my boost on this one with SGA. Point being, though, with that boost, SGA projects pretty well. Thunder's total today is really high. I believe it's at 130 implied points. We'll see the game by game in a moment, but do want to make sure I get this right because it's a pretty high number even for the Thunder. Yeah, 130.3 implied points today. Memphis, 122.3 on their side. So SGA, I want to get exposure to. I'm not getting him a ton in the sim right now, but with the number that I have here, 60.1 is the projection. With that little bit of a boost, probably to get more SGA is how it is. I think I'm playing with myself. Okay, guys, we get it. I'm playing with myself. I always, the numbers are a constant process of massaging. So in some ways, it is like playing with yourself. But yeah, for SGA, basically, I have them a little bit more inflated than I would normally. And if you are paying for the projections, of course, you get all my data, all the stuff you see on the screen by joining down below Squirt Squad VIP tier or the Squirt Squad tier if you just want to see the data screens and not have exportable projections and all that. Basically, like, I do some stuff that like I don't want to subject the public to if I'm testing it. So I finished top 25 yesterday in the 4-point play. So I feel like I've been happy with my exposures, kind of boosting the projections according to Vegas totals, but I don't want to roll it out to everybody yet because I'm not, anytime you take a risk with data, you take a risk with data. Games that are not on the DraftKings slate, I guess Tatum we should hit first. So Tatum's a Q tag, Jaylen Brown's a Q tag. If Jaylen Brown is out, and it does seem like with the total here, Boston not as big of a favorite as you probably expect. One of Tatum or Brown being out seems possible. Both of them being out, I think, wouldn't be insane either. Basically, for Jason Tatum, looks good right now. Will look better if you get Brown out. If you get Tatum out, Brown's going to look better. So as is right now, 24% of the field expected to be owning Jason Tatum today. I'm going to get 27. No real issue with that. Harden, Cunningham, Cade Cunningham, that is, not to be confused with a Happy Days family. I don't know what other Cunninghams are. The Randall Cunningham, really all boomer references only for the Cunningham name. Point being for Cade Cunningham, James Harden, they're not on the DraftKings slate, but if you're playing on FanDuel, they both project pretty well. Harden, no Kawhi Leonard, no Norman Powell. That helps him out quite a bit in terms of the rates. The Harden has failed a lot lately with similar spots, so gauge it accordingly. Not something I have to worry about for myself today. Isaiah Hartenstein projects really well for me. Again, getting that same projection boost the Thunder is getting today, which, is a little bit lofty of a projection here. Would make it hard to not get Hartenstein in some projection sets. That said, Hartenstein getting him at 22%, Fields at 2%. Hartenstein, no Chet Holmgren today, so as a result, should be a pretty good matchup. You do need size against Memphis. And for the DVP lovers out there, Hartenstein's actually had a pretty good couple last few games versus Memphis as well. Played, I think, 32 minutes, 45 fantasy points or so. Last time he was in this matchup versus them. Game before that, I think he played high 20s minutes, had a similar high 30s fantasy points, so similar point per minute. I think that Hartenstein is a good play again. And as was the case earlier in the year when Holmgren was out, I think he's a better play than people realize. I used to get him on a lot of slates. Then when Holmgren came back in, that stopped being the case. I think he looks good today. Smash the like button. Now we need a new laptop. Yes, please don't damage your electronics if you do hit the like button. Please do hit the like button. Please do hit the join button. Please do hit the subscribe button. All these things matter a lot right now. We're so close to 1,000, guys. So close. Please, by the end of the week, right? 1,000. I think we can do it. Jalen Williams getting 11% for the field. I'm only at 5%. Projection here looks pretty good to me at 8,200. Again, really high total for the Thunder. Whatever Thunder you get at this point would look good. Aaron Wiggins is also a Q tag for the Thunder. If he's out, it's going to look even better as well. Alex Caruso is already out for that team. So minutes are starting to get a little bit longer potentially for some of these guys, but really more so. You're talking about consolidating the stats. With, a guy like Wiggins actually does produce a little bit. If he's gone, you're going to replace him with guys like Usman Jang, Kenrich Williams, Isaiah Joe, who just kind of aren't really out there to do much. Anthony Edwards looks pretty good to me. Would look better if Julius Randle is out. He's a Q tag right now. Wolves have Conley out. Wolves have Gobert out again today. So watch out for the Wolves there. That's first game on the slate going against Charlotte. Theoretically, the kind of spot where Anthony Edwards could really do some damage. 10% owned by the field. I'm only getting 5, but I do think, Ant, if you're not paying up here, very easy to get to Jokic, Giannis, SGA, Tatum on the slate. Anthony Edwards, I think, gets more appealing as a result of that because it's just easy to kind of get to those high-dollar guys. And we got Bam Adebayo here. He'll look better if Tyler Hero is out. He already gets a boost from Khalil Ware not playing today for the Heat again. Wiggins also out for the Heat. Getting a lot of injuries on the slate, so bear with me as I throw endless names at you. And Damian Lillard, 13% for the field, 4% for me. Not a big pro stand here for me. But in lineups where you don't get Giannis, Was the case for me yesterday. My top 25 finishing lineup had Lillard in it. Lillard wasn't really that good, but basically didn't play Giannis in that lineup, so I gave a boost to Lillard. Didn't work out well in that case, but that's sort of the play I think you want to make to get yourself more unique. And frankly, the uniqueness, I think, is what helped me finish top 25. I also had Devin Vassell and Paolo Banchero putting up 70, so I don't want to act. There wasn't really a great genius going on in that lineup. But, sort of a leverage play kind of thing that I do in my lineups more than we talk about here. Going to sort by value now. Again, comparing my projections, Stokastic. Top value for me on the day, and this is assuming I gave Tristan Vukovic 17.5 minutes. Stokastic might be a little bit lower than that would be. You have no Rashawn Holmes today. So Alex Sarr starting. I have him playing about 30, 31 minutes. Tristan Vukovic gets whatever's left. He is playing a Utah team that's sitting every legitimate player they have. It might even be sitting Keontae George. So I think you're getting kind of more backup minutes. Alex Sarr is a young guy. He might still produce a lot. But Vukovic can get hot off the bench going against Oscar Tshiebwe and whatever. They really have nothing on the Jazz that I'm worried about. So Vukovic to me, 3K minimum salary. And one thing too is if you keep that 3K minimum salary, and if you were to find out that Jokic is unavailable, the Washington game is at, never mind. That doesn't help because the Washington game is at 7. Vukovic, your one risk, I guess, would be the better way to put it. If you play him, he's in the first game on the slate or one of the first 4 games that are tipping off at 7 o'clock. If you got Jokic out, you then don't have that 3K salary spot at center to go to DeAndre Jordan later on, and he would be definitely a great play and would look better than a guy like Vukovic. But I still think he's worth some exposure early on. So Tristan Vukovic, I think, is a strong play today at 3K. What got me into Vassell, if you don't mind me asking, just the rates. The rates basically didn't support Fox as much. I mentioned on the show that Vassell, Johnson, Chris Paul all look better to me. So I ended up getting more of those guys, and that ended up being a helpful thing. But he was only 6% played, so I don't think it wasn't a common play for sure. So Sacramento, Malik Monk out for Sacramento, in addition to having Domantas Sabonis out. Not a lot of rates to kind of look back on that to get a good read in the Kings. I gave Keon Ellis basically what Malik Monk's minutes would be because he's normally the one who comes in when Monk's off the court. So I think you get a Keon Ellis start today. You probably have Jake LaRavia, Markelle Fultz picking up more minutes behind that. But Keon Ellis at 4,100, if he does get you to mid-30s minutes, I think looks pretty good. Getting him at 30% of my lineups right now, Fields at 3%. And for what it's worth for Vukovic, reason it's 0 and 0s because Stokastic doesn't have them in their lineup sets basically because they have Rashawn Holmes as the backup, didn't have Vukovic getting more minutes. But I imagine he would be in a sim, probably a 15 to 20% play. Keon Ellis, 30%. So look, big stand here. Think that's what his ownership is going to be though when the numbers update, 20 to 25, maybe 30% feels about right for him. Isaiah Hartenstein, who we talked about, he looks like a top value to me. Do you think my projection's a little bit aggressive here? Getting that little bit of the Vegas total boost. Max Christie, 3x the field for me. I think that Max Christie looks like your best play here. Christie basically produces in every category and what a team like the Mavs need. And it is something that I would say is a positive in my projections. It's part of what makes my projections work really well when you're in kind of the shitty part of the season where you don't really know what the rates are. Guys are playing together for the first time on the court. Kind of fills in the blanks a little bit better by reassigning the stats to players based upon, who gets the most rebounds, who gets the most assists. Like they then kind of chop up the remaining stats if you want to understand how my data works. So Max Christie gets a lot in every category because he's only one of very few Mavs that gets you some assists, gets some usage, gets a decent rebound rate. If he plays mid-30s minutes, and he should because the Mavs have nobody left. It's a 9-man rotation if Kai Jones plays. If Kai Jones is out, it's an 8-man rotation. Max Christie's probably playing, I think 33.7 minutes might be low. He's probably playing 35, 38. And he can add some steals and blocks as well. So Christie at 5,200, he is one of those Quentin Grimes specials for me, which is now looking a lot better. Grimes is playing really well in Philadelphia. But I get these guys a lot because they do a little bit of everything. And when there's just kind of opportunity to go around, they look good in my data. So Christie, to me, huge stand in favor of him. Justin Champagny, looking okay here. Wizards, just a lot of opportunity to go around at this point. Champagny, one of the bigger rate winners from not having Jordan Poole out there. So not a great value, not guaranteed minutes, not starting, but Champagny looking okay at 3,900. Keyshawn George, 37% for me, 28% for the field. He's one of those guys, there's a little bit of everything out there as well. Washington, though, nobody projects fantastically. I'm not crazy about Keyshawn George, but at this point, they're missing enough guys. He does play big minutes. He's going today. I think he looks okay at 5K. Omax Prosper, have him at 25% of my lineups. Just another guy that has to play mid-20s minutes. Shot of if it goes well for him, he could play high 20s minutes. Really for Dallas, they're going to have to throw a lot of shit against the wall because Milwaukee should abuse them in pretty much every way. Giannis in particular should abuse them pretty much without having a real center in there. Dwight Powell will do a little bit. Kai Jones, if he can play, will do a little bit. If God forbid, if he doesn't play, they got nothing at all. So Max Prosper, I think, is one of those guys that get out there, going to be probably wide open from three a little bit. Hopefully get some shots up. Getting 2x the field on him feels okay. Oscar Tshiebwe, I think that's how you say it, right? Tshiebwe, whatever his name is, he's the backup center for Utah. Basically, he'll play whatever minutes that Kyle Filipowski doesn't play. Walker Kessler out today, along with the entire Jazz starting lineup and really entire rotation. So Tshiebwe here, min salary, 3K guy. 21% for me, 16% for the field. I would rather play Vukovic, but I think they're kind of the same thing. They're both backups. You hope to get more minutes in their various situations, literally in the same game. And I think Vukovic is a better player than Tshiebwe as well. Like, he should have used Tshiebwe as much as one can. I did nail it. I did say Champagny. It finally landed in my brain, I think, after Josh scolded me on stream once. Micah Potter doesn't look like he's projected to get enough minutes now. He certainly can pick up the start, but he also doesn't produce that well. So you'd probably need him to start and Keyshawn George to be out for me to want to get there. And I probably still wouldn't. Kevin Love, other day, I foolishly just locked him in lineups when he was announced as a starter, 3K minimum. He produces so well per minute. He produces really well per minute. So the field's at 8%. I got 9. The issue, though, for Kevin Love is that he's not going to play a lot of minutes. He can play theoretically high 20s, but he hasn't done it really in months at this point. Last game, they didn't play him a second quarter stint, didn't play him a fourth quarter stint. Even though he got the start, he played the first quarter, played the third quarter. So Kevin Love, really, I think a bit of a trap play at this point. But I guess if he got hot and they just wanted to keep him out there, they could, but they didn't last game. Let's see. As Mama told me it's Tshiebwe, thank you. It's Mama. If you're sleeping with Oscar Tshiebwe's mom, I think we have other questions here and issues, frankly. Markelle Fultz, I think he gets the backup minutes to Keon Ellis now. He's in basically the guard behind the guard coming off the bench, including in the blowout the other day for Sacramento. I think Fultz gets you to mid-20s minutes at 3,200. He might be playable. He would probably be leveraged against the Keon Ellis. Fultz has been a good producer since the Orlando days, so I don't mind him, but think there are better value plays at 3,200. Should get a little bit, though. And Chris Middleton, 32.5% for the field, 32% for me. He's been your best producer on the Wizards. Consolidates usage, consolidates assist upside as well, without having Jordan Poole and the rest of the various Wizards no longer available. For Middleton, I think I still have the same questions I've had about his rates, where he's averaging 1.3 fantasy points per minute. I have so many fucking injured guy rates in, so let me scroll up. Averaging 1.37 fantasy points per minute with 25% usage, 36% assist rate, and 100 minutes or so. So not enough minutes. Actually, 100 possessions, 50 minutes. So even less. It's not a big enough sample size to trust, but I think Middleton is not bad chalk here. So I'll be with the 30% or so. And shout out I am the KY for joining here. Of course, you guys can join down below if you want access to the Discord. Just join a $5 tier. That'll get you added immediately to that when you sync your YouTube with your Discord. Of course, you want to get the data that I'm showing you on screen, my X-Portal projections. That's the Squirt Squad VIP tier. And if you want to get just the screen, I'll show you guys right now. This version of things you can get for just the Squirt Squad tier down below. But join one of them, check them out. And of course, if you want professional projections, not mine, which are lovingly updated throughout the night as I'm updating things for myself throughout a slate, Unabated also has their version of things, 20% off. Link down below for Unabated. Go check them out, whether you're getting betting data or their NBA DFS projections, which frankly are not used by enough of the field. You want to get real sharp. You want to you want to spend, let's say less than $500 for a month and get really unique on NBA DFS slates. Take Unabated's projections, buy mine too, average them out, put them in SaberSim. Nobody else is doing that. I would bet even the half of that. Just the Unabated part with SaberSim was my initial thought. Nobody's doing that. So that's the kind of things you can do in NBA DFS, or you could make projections like I do, but follow your heart. Do something, get unique, and do subscribe down below. Hit the like button. I misspoke yesterday, or I guess the numbers might have flipped. Now about 40% of people who watch the show are not subscribed, and 60% are. So shout out to the good 60, to the bad 40. Please subscribe down below. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. It all goes a long way for me here as I fight that YouTube algorithm with one live show a day, which is not usually what YouTube loves to recommend. I'm not reading that. I'll pull it up on screen, but I'm not reading it. If you're a paying member, I'd read it because that's my promise. I pull up paying member chats, I read them, and I go, oh boy. but no, not for free. I won't shame my family for free. Minnesota, 117 implied points. Julius Randle, our big Q tags, a note here. He's in my projection set right now, not Stokastics. But really here, no big stands. If you get Randle out, Edwards looks good enough that I think he starts to get in lineups for me. Fields at 10%. I got 5% Edwards as it is right now with Julius Randle. And the projection set, the ownership there does assume Randle being out. So I would think Edwards comes down a little bit when Stokastic reruns their data. But really, these guys, to me, nobody looks that great. Nikhil Alexander-Walker, I have getting a few more minutes because of having Conley out. Naz Reid, playable. Price tag's pretty high, though. Julius Randle, playable if he's in. If he's not in, don't play him. I think that seems pretty obvious. These guys all look okay here. Yes, like and subscribe, Data Master. Thank you for that. And you could be one of the first 1,000 subscribers. That's true. What's better non-sexually? What's better sexually? I mean, let's be clear here. Once that post nut clarity hits, you'd rather be a subscriber to a YouTube channel, right? I think, depending on who the nut is with, I suppose. Charlotte, 109 implied points here. A lot of guys playing today for Charlotte, which I think is a positive compared to usual. Mark Williams, really the only one I'm getting. 7% of my top 150 lineups have him compared to 7% for the field. LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, I'm not getting there, though. Bridges did hit recently with LaMelo playing, so maybe there's more hope for him than where I'm normally getting, which when LaMelo is out. But Charlotte, not a great total, not a great matchup. Technically a little bit of a pace down. Both teams play pretty slow. Not a lot to love on Charlotte's side. Always money time with Sheboy's mom. Thank you for that. And yes, Robert Griffith's heard only I'm allowed to say things like huge unshaven vagina in chat. See, look, I said I would read it and I read it. So there's a promise fulfilled here on stream. Utah, 112 implied points facing Washington. Pace up spot for them. Soft defenses on both sides. Totals have come down here, thinking that Keontae George may not be going today based on the Utah total moving down throughout the day. I believe they were at 117 or 118 at the very least last night. Now we're at 112. So kind of feels like Keontae George not playing. If George is out, you got to play anybody from Utah. Keontae George takes a lot of usage away. He looks like a good play, getting him in 37% of my top 150. You'll know by lock because it's a 7 o'clock start time here. Really, Utah having Keontae George now, having Sensabaugh now, having Filipowski now, I think all feels good, even though I'm low on Filipowski, and I don't like that. I would say ignoring the projections, I think Filipowski is like tailor-made for this kind of matchup. He's going to be able to spread Alex Sarr out. He's going to be able to knock down some threes. Sarr is not going to do a great enough job keeping him off the glass. I like Filipowski, so I'll say that as well, even though the ownership is not there for me. Only 5% of my top 150. Grits the Fields 19. But really, the Keontae George thing is crucial. If he's in, he's a good play. Sensabaugh's a good play. If George is out, Collier looks better. Sensabaugh looks even better at 4,300. I'm surprised I'm not getting more of him. The Field's at 49% Sensabaugh, our man of thumbnail, if you're not familiar with his little face, his cute little face in our sitcom. He's a good player here. If Keontae George is in, he'll be a great play if Keontae George is out, because he'll be one of few guys who can actually get his own shot and will frankly shoot unabashedly with everybody else out of the team at that point. But yeah, at this point, Utah, I need to know Keontae George's status, but your top play is George, Filipowski, Sensabaugh, and Sheboy as a value play, even though I think he and Vukovic, kind of the same thing to me. Utah's got good plays here. Washington, soft matchup. You know the deal, hopefully, at this point. Thank you for the kind chatting from John Daly. Is the best live show to prime us before the NBA news shitstorm drops. Yeah, the show that gets rendered irrelevant faster than anyone out there. But I appreciate that. And look, a lot of other shows used to go at 4 o'clock. They backed away in fear for me because they know that I'm doing too well here. Doing too well giving out the info that gets rendered moot very quickly. Washington, 117 implied points on their side. No Jordan Poole, no Malcolm Brogdon. Getting a lot of Washington here, and you're fine with it. 117 implied points for Washington. Good matchup here with Utah giving up 120 implied or giving up 120 points normally per 100 possessions. That's the defense efficiency mark you're seeing right there. Basically, either side of the equation here looks good. Should be a competitive game. Koulibaly, I'm lowest on here compared to the Field, but still getting him at 9%. Field's 17. Chris Middleton, as I talked about, he's your best per minute producer, but the minutes probably not going to get high. 32% for me in my top 150. Fields at 33. Bub Carrington getting 17 compared to the Field's 16. Alex Sarr, I'm lowest on, getting 15 compared to the Field's 30. If he gets a few more in Stokastic's minutes projection, maybe they'll give Sar 33, 34 minutes and give Vukovic 14. That would probably put me higher on Sar, but as it was me doing the minutes before the show. So I gave Sar 30 and a half, gave Vukovic the rest 17 and a half. I think that's right, but people like Sar a lot more than I do. I frankly don't think I've gotten Sar right in a lot of slates. He doesn't grade out that well to me, but this is the kind of game where if you did put up, 40 fantasy points, it wouldn't be a shocker. So I'm low on Sar. Doesn't mean you have to be. Besides that, Keyshawn George, talked about him getting a lot. There's too many good plays. Champagny looking good as well. The Washington version, play whoever you want, really. Miami, Tyler Hero in right now means not getting a lot of these guys with the 104.8 implied points. I got to go faster here. For Miami, no ownership right now. If Hero's out, you get more minutes for Rozier, more minutes for, Mitchell's already probably getting his peak. More minutes for Alec Burks, more minutes for, I think that's probably your main guys. Probably more minutes for Robinson. The usage, though, is going to go up a lot because Tyler Hero takes away about 55% of the possession between his usage and his assist rate normally. And that's a little bit higher with Jimmy Butler off the court as well. These rates are kind of the season-long ones you're seeing right here. So really, if you get Hero out, everybody's in play. As it is right now, not getting a ton of Bam. I think he's a good play, though, but only 2% for me. Duncan Robinson getting 14%. He fits the price tag well at shooting guard, small forward, 4,700. But he would look a lot better if Hero were out. These guys look okay, but the total is not great. And frankly, with them 12.5-point dogs, I kind of think Hero doesn't play. This one is also an early game as well. So you'll know this one by lock, the Hero status. The 2 games Sar's been back. He's only been 25 and 26 minutes. Okay. That's also with having Rashawn Holmes. It could move around a little bit, but that's that. Other shows tout DVP as their primary way of analyzing matchups. Yeah, that's not one you'll ever get for me. It doesn't help. DVP does not help at all. And it's also kind of accounted for already in the Vegas totals. How this on typically while finishing up at the gym doing cardio. Shit's lead. Yeah, it's true. My BPM and how fast I talk probably gets your heart going. Cleveland, 117.3 implied points here. Mobley back in after his rest day. Seems like you could maybe get a rest for somebody last minute here. Allen, Garland wouldn't be crazy. But these guys are where they are for right now. If everybody plays for Cleveland, nobody looks that good. Getting Garland at 11% of my top 150. Jared Allen at 7%, which is half the field's 14 and change. Cleveland, not a bad total here, but really not a lot to love if the entire team is going. Portland, 107 implied points. I got nothing here besides Denny Avdia, who does project well for me. Kind of your biggest rate winner with DeAndre Ayton off the court. You need guys out here, I think, to like to see more. Portland, frankly, has been a good enough team where if you play the idea that they could be competitive versus Boston, maybe you squeeze your eyes, whatever. What is their expression? To squint your eyes. That'd be it, not squeeze your eyes. Squint your eyes. You can maybe get to Shaden Sharp, maybe get your way to Anthony Simons, who I'm always low on, but I do recognize has some outlier days. If they compete with Portland, they probably beat their Vegas total by 8 points, 10 points maybe. So that's sort of the reason to play Portland, I guess. But to me, it's mostly Avdia here based on the projections. Boston, 160.8 implied points on their side. Feels like a total again. Only a 9.5 point spread favoring Boston. Feels like one of Tatum or Brown being out, if not both. As it is right now, though, Tatum being in, getting him in a quarter of my lineups, Fields basically the same amount. Getting Jaylen Brown at 18%, Fields at 14%. Both guys look good with Porzingis and Jrue Holiday doubtful, so they're out of the projection set. Derek White would look better if you get one of Tatum or Brown out. If you get both out, Derek White's probably your priority play alongside Peyton Pritchard. Al Horford would look better as well if you got those guys out. Something could be weird with Boston, though. Feels odd for them to rest guys again, at home, but I think it's going to happen for at least one of them. Dallas, 107 implied points. This is the fun one. Milwaukee, 118 on their side. Sip a Diet Coke here for the fucking stupidest game on the slate. So Najee Marshall, I'm a little bit low on him. 11%, Fields at 26%. Do you have Najee Marshall projected pretty well, though? 31 for me, 31.3. Stokastic is at 33 for him. Klay Thompson, got him at 29.3 fantasy points. Stokastic got 28.9. He does okay without Luka, without Kyrie, without PJ Washington in the court. The rates don't take a big enough jump up to go crazy. Smaller sample size stuff with guys like Jaden Hardy off the court. Some of the other Mavs that are not quite as rotationally important if you want to really cut the sample size. Klay Thompson does do a little bit more in terms of rebounding and assists. So if you want to take a shot at Klay, I wouldn't mind it, but 15% to me feels like more than enough. Max Christie, as I talked about, contributes in every category. The rates go up a good amount where he is in his season-long numbers in court time without the various Mavs. He's averaged about 0.9 fantasy points per minute without those guys. I think Max Christie gets the most minutes. I think he gets the most opportunity. He could add some steals and blocks. He could knock down threes. Max Christie to me is the preferred play here at shooting guard, small forward. Dinwiddie, I like less than I would have expected. Getting him at 29.4 is the projection, which is flat with Stokastic. Only 39% of my top 150 lineups have Dinwiddie, though. Fields at 48. Dinwiddie, I would have thought would be the big winner. He just doesn't take a big jump up in usage or assists. Gets to about 20% usage, 25% assist rate. If he were to get higher than that, unexpectedly, he would certainly look like a better play, but Dinwiddie just hasn't shown enough with the guys off the court who are off the court today. Max Prosper looking okay here, 25%. Kai Jones looking okay if he does play. Then we got downgraded to a Q tag. So a lot to look at here for Dallas. Really, you need to know starters to feel good about it. And if you get one of these guys not starting suddenly, knock them down because they're going to be a little bit higher than they would be normally if they were, if you knew that in advance. Milwaukee, you are wrong every time. I think you were like 1-4. Oh my God. Milwaukee, 118 implied points. I don't have time today to yell at you more about it. Milwaukee, getting 2x to Field on Giannis, 37% in my top 150. Fields at 18%. Damian Lillard not getting as much, 4% for me, 13% for the Field. It's such a soft matchup. Giannis should be able to fully abuse these guys. He gets the biggest rate jump up from not having Middleton, not having Portis available, probably for the rest of the year, for both guys to be the guess. So play Giannis, I think, is how it goes. Kuzma, never like him. I don't like him today, but if he were going to get going, really soft matchup to do it. It's a good total. It's a soft matchup. No issue playing whoever you want from the Bucks, but to me, it just should be Giannis, and that's basically it. If you want to give Lillard a boost like I did yesterday, I think that's a reasonable way to do it. Try to get leverage on him. I would say probably Lillard and Brook Lopez, you give the boost. If Giannis fails, one of those guys probably rises up. Sacramento, 114.5 implied points. Denver, 120.5. Malik Monk got ruled out here. I gave all of Malik Monk's minutes to Keon Ellis. That makes Keon Ellis look like a top value on the slate for me. Stokastic will probably come in a little bit lower, so he won't be as much of a slam dunk value, but I do think he ends up being about 20 to 25% owned, and I would guess he's your fifth starter for the team today, alongside Levine, DeRozan, and Keegan Murray, and J Val as well. Jake LaRavia, I think gets more minutes. Markelle Fultz, I think gets more minutes as well. Devin Carter, I guess get back in the rotation, but I'm not sure that I think he's behind Fultz at this point. Sacramento, I think a decent team to go to here. Not too highly owned. Only 6-point dogs on the road here, and the usage is now much more consolidated from having Sabonis out and having Monk out, and also not having Fox anymore. Denver on their side, Nikola Jokic is your big Q tag here, as we talked about. He looks like a good play if he's in, getting him in 36% of my lineups. Fields at 21. If he's out, Jamal Murray, Porter, Christian Brown, Aaron Gordon all look more playable. Gordon's also a Q tag, so watch out for that. Denver, this is really an important one. I have a lot of Hartenstein ownership, which is going to keep me a little more flexible for the late games. This game is at 9 o'clock, so just keep it in mind for Jokic here. You really want to keep lineup flexibility and swap around here, because if Jokic is ruled out, DeAndre Jordan's probably going to be 25 minutes at a $3K minimum salary, and he'd be one of the better value plays in the slate, and I guarantee you sharp players will still get there. At least a third of their lineups would be my guess, if not more. Last game on the DraftKings slate, and then I'll quickly flash you the FanDuel / Underdog exclusive. We got OKC, 130.3 implied points. Really, really, really high total for OKC here, especially considering Holmgren is out. But it's a high pace spot. We keep seeing Memphis, Atlanta in some of these high total games. This game has a combined total of 252.5. So it's really high total here for OKC and Memphis. SGA, I think, looks pretty good here. 21% for the Field. Only got him at 7% of my lineups. So that's why I'm giving the projection boost here. So when I rerun things, I'll force myself to get more SGA because of how high. Like 130.3 is a very high Vegas. So I know we've been spoiled by a few teams of being around that range this week, but it doesn't happen that often. And now it's happening a lot down the home stretch here. Jalen Williams looks okay, 11% for the Field. I'm at 5. Really don't think he projects terribly well, but with that total here, if SGA doesn't have an outlier day, Jalen Williams probably does. Isaiah Hartenstein gains from not having Chet Holmgren in. I think he plays low 30s minutes with the size you kind of need against Memphis, even though you needed a little bit less with Jaren Jackson hurt at this point. And Aaron Wiggins, if he's out, would open up some more minutes for guys like Lou Dort, Kason Wallace, more opportunity overall. Wiggins right now a Q tag midday downgrade, so that's an important one as well for the last game of the DraftKings slate. And Memphis, 122 implied points on their side. Ja Morant, Santi Aldama, both at shoot around. They should be playing today. Gave these guys the rate boost with Jaren Jackson off the court. Sprained ankle for Jaren Jackson. He's now week to week after killing everybody's lineups, mine in particular, the other day. But really, Memphis, nobody stands out that much. Edey getting a little more secure run here, getting him in 15% of my top 150. Vince Williams, 16% of my top 150 with him, getting a little more opportunity because of not having Jackson in. But really, nobody looks that great here. I would say giving a boost to Morant, to Bane. Again, it's a high total here. If they keep up with OKC, it's probably because Morant, Bane had some outlier efforts. So just keep that in mind. All right. And that is the projections portion of things. Oh, here's Detroit and Clippers. You got a lot of guys out. Ausar Thompson looks okay. Malik Beasley looks okay. Usual here, though, on FanDuel. Beasley going to carry you a little bit less far. Clippers on their side. Harden looks okay. Zubac probably wouldn't play him on FanDuel, but he's fine. Bogdanovich as a value, not terrible. Coffee, probably wouldn't play him on FanDuel, but not awful. That's how that looks. Let's go to Unabated now, though. Let's get some good bets. Of course, the DFS lineup's coming up after that on Stokastic, but we got to learn about Unabated and their conditional NBA projections because they will get you a lot of different ways to make money in betting and DFS if you just follow their data in this little video. Expert NBA projections updated in real time around the clock by a team of experts, including Justin Fan, the guy behind Basketball Monster, Fantasy Labs, Underdog, lots of different alert systems you get. You didn't even know it, but it's all Justin Fan. Dynamic projections, there's a big 10 different conditional projection sets right now, maybe even more. They have different data basically for if guys are going to be in, guys are going to be out. You can find the EV no matter what's happening in a given NBA slate. That's always full of joy, as you guys know. We got graphs, of course. Where would we be if we didn't have graphs? Distributions of bets is what you're seeing unabated there in those graphs. Oh, I'm trying frantically to log in at the same time. You're going to be counting your money if I can log in here and it updates and to say, no, it didn't get there. Blank screen. I was trying to log in discreetly here. Of course, we're going to go to the points bets, the rebounds bets, the assist bets. It's really important you see this graph here. Unabated backtests their data, tracks everything. So you know what you're getting into here. They have bettors that are really serious about this stuff, bettors spending tens of thousands in a given night trying to get a return here. You'd be up over $40,000, about $42,000. You place $100 bets 30 minutes before tip-off for every bet with a 5% or higher edge. So I'm going to show you the ones right now here that we have, of course, the projections releasing at 4:30 Eastern. But really, if you want to get results in betting, it's not tailing somebody in a marketplace. It's not, some of the other stuff out there. It's using premium data in an efficient way, getting bets in quickly. So you should be doing with Unabated. So check it out for yourself. There's really no cloak and dagger here. Can't get more clear than a graph of your returns. And really, people that spend money on that, the people who are really good at betting or paying for Unabated, they're going to fucking question that data a lot. So, you're getting good data on it. If you lost out the graphs, that's true. Any idea where you could see some graphs? Oh, you could just pause the last couple of minutes here, and you're in heaven. All right, our top bets right now for points. Let me make sure we're getting everything in. You can see as well all the conditional projections, 10 different sets of data here for Jaylen Brown, Keontae George, Aaron Gordon, Jeremy Grant, Tyler Hero, Nikola Jokic, Kai Jones, John Morant, Julius Randle, Jason Tatum. That is a hilarious amount of questionable players. It's not even the record, though. We had 15 last week, so there's a lot. But your best points bets right now, you got Nick Smith over 11.5 points, minus 105 odds on DraftKings. That's 11.4% EV. And the Grand Slam here, you can play it on PrizePicks and Underdog as well, where it is a lower 5.5% EV. Same thing on FanDuel. But Nick Smith over 11.5 points, playable any of the major pick'em sites or sports books. DeAndre Hunter, 7.8% EV for him, under 12.5 points. That's minus 111 odds. It's on FanDuel Sportsbook. Playable on PrizePicks Underdog, where it's a rounded up 5% EV. Better on DraftKings, where it's under 12.5 for 6% EV. But DeAndre Hunter, under 12.5 points, looks good anywhere you can get it. Keyshawn George, over 11.5 points. We talked about him being a priority DFS play potentially today. Over 11.5 points looks good as well. Minus 104 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. is your best bet, and that's actually probably the only one you want to take. That's 7% EV. These ones under 5%, so we prefer not to take those if we can avoid it. Jake LaRavia, under 6.5 points for him. Looking best on PrizePicks and Underdog. We're getting that 6.5% EV for Jake LaRavia under 6.5 points. I'd worry about the minutes here because he is one of those guys who can pick up a few more from not having Monk in. But Jake LaRavia, I think good enough here. Trust the math and Unabated always. 6.5% EV on the pick'em sites for under 6.5 points on Jake LaRavia. Ty Jerome under 11.5 points gets you 5.3% EV at minus 115 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook. And you probably don't want it anywhere else. So take it only on DraftKings. Ty Jerome under 11.5 points. Trey Lyles under 7.5 points, 5.1% EV on your pick'em sites, PrizePicks and Underdog. That's 5.1% EV for Trey Lyles under 7.5 points. And that's the only place you can get them are the pick'em sites. And Darius Garland under 19.5 points gets right here on the line, 5% EV, minus 125 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook, and not available anywhere else. Rebounds coming up next. The sweet ribbies. Not to be confused with RBIs, which are also sweet ribbies. Not to be confused with the sexy frog either, which I think we'd also call a sweet ribby. All right. Michigan J Frog and drag is what I'm envisioning for a sexy frog. We got Brooke Lopez here under 6.5 rebounds. Looking best on PrizePicks, 21% EV. Also good on DraftKings and FanDuel here. Milwaukee inexplicably playing their starters today. But Brooke Lopez looking good on PrizePicks, DraftKings, and FanDuel for under 6.5 rebounds today. Mark Williams under 11.5 rebounds looks best on Underdog, the lower on 11.5 rebounds there. Still good on PrizePicks, DraftKings, and FanDuel. So a grand slam here for Mark Williams under 11.5 rebounds or under 11 rebounds on PrizePicks in particular. Nick Smith over 2.5 rebounds looks best on PrizePicks, 15.3% EV. You probably don't want it anywhere else. AJ Green under 2.5 rebounds looking best on DraftKings Sportsbook, plus 114 odds, gets you 12.6% EV. So plus money on there. Also plus money on FanDuel for slightly lesser EV. So AJ Green on your regular sportsbooks, looking good for under 2.5 rebounds. DeAndre Hunter over 3.5 rebounds, looking the best on FanDuel Sportsbook at minus 146 odds. Still bettable on DraftKings for over 3.5 rebounds at minus 154. But DeAndre Hunter over on rebounds looking good. Kyle Kuzma under 7 rebounds, best on PrizePicks, 10.6% EV, still bettable on DraftKings and FanDuel for the under here. Kyle Kuzma, awful DFS player, awful real-life basketball player, make some money off of it. Kyle Kuzma, much like Kyle Kuzma is, make some money off of it. Take his unders today anywhere you can get it, besides Underdog, where it's not available. And Max Strus over 3.5 rebounds, looking the best on FanDuel, 10.4% EV at minus 128 odds for over 3.5 rebounds for Max Strus, but still playable on DraftKings, 7.9% EV on there. Assist coming up next. Once called a chick with a raspy voice, sexy frog. I feel like you put that at the end. No one. She gave good head. I don't know if there's any evidence that frogs give good head. The only thing I know about frogs, because my dad was Puerto Rican and would go to Puerto Rico, is like if you go to some of the muddier areas of Puerto Rico and you drive over things, you'll run over the coquis and it'll sound like a farting sound as you run over these frogs. You have no way to not run over them. But that's what I know of frogs. And I would imagine if you try to get throat from one of those frogs, they might explode. That wouldn't be fun for anybody. Frog nor you. And get a frog's consent too, I think would be the other part of that. Bogdan Bogdanovic, very important. Even frog consent matters. Bogdan Bogdanovic under 3.5 assists, minus 140 odds on DraftKings is your best bet right now for him. Bogdan Bogdanovic, awful player on the year, looking better on the Clippers so far, but under 3.5 assists, looking good. And in fact, your best bet for assists right now in terms of expected value. DeMar DeRozan over 4.5 assists. Again, looking better overall because having Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis not available. DeMar DeRozan here over 4.5 assists. Looking best on PrizePicks, 12.6% EV. Not available anywhere else. Ron Holland under 1.5 assists. Those Ron Holland lines flying off the shelves. Minus 188. What fucking incredible amount of juice. But Ron Holland under 1.5 assists, minus 188 odds. It's a 12.6% EV on DraftKings Sportsbook. Max Strus over 2.5 assists, minus 140 odds on DraftKings, 12.3% EV. DraftKings seemingly just not updating lines here. Everybody else has pulled these. Malik Beasley over 1.5 assists, plus 100 odds on DraftKings. It's a 10.7% EV. Probably don't want it anywhere else. Zach LaVine over 4.5 assists, looking good on PrizePicks. Another winner from no Malik Monk or Sabonis. Zach LaVine over 4.5 assists. Competitive game as well versus Denver. 9.7% EV for him on PrizePicks. And Ivica Zubac over 2.5 assists. Plus 135 odds on DraftKings looks best because it's the only place you can get it and the odds align. So Ivica Zubac here. Bet your assist bets on DraftKings because they're real soft for all those. Wart Tick is crazy. Thank you. Thank you for that. I'm not, you know what, Robert Griffin III? I'm not pulling up that one. Just don't need to read that, but I see it. Have no fear. I do see it. All right, let's give this one more sort here. All right. Markelle Fultz, think he gets the minutes behind Keon Ellis now. Again, with Malik Monk out for the Kings, which is really the biggest underlying theme here of all the bets we've had so far. Markelle Fultz, 18.8% EV for over 10.5 PRAs for him on Underdog, so the higher on 10.5 PRAs. Not available anywhere else but Fultz here. I do think looks like a decent value as we talked about here, getting backup run. Markelle Fultz over today or higher on Underdog. For PRAs, Bogdan Bogdanovic under 22.5 PRAs looks best on DraftKings. Still bettable on FanDuel, still bettable on PrizePicks for Bogdan Bogdanovic under 22.5 PRAs or under 22 PRAs on PrizePicks. Nick Smith over 17.5 PRAs best on DraftKings. Once again, minus 110 odds on there, not available anywhere else. Asar Thompson under 22.5 PRAs, DraftKings Sportsbooks minus 115 odds will get you 9.4% EV. You could also bet it Grand Slam here. PrizePicks, Underdog, and FanDuel all look good as well for Asar Thompson under 22.5 PRAs. Tim Hardaway Jr. under 15.5 PRAs. He has been awful this year. 9.3% EV at minus 110 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook for Tim Hardaway under 15.5 PRAs. Isaiah Stewart, the much ballyhooed Isaiah Stewart, who our guy Doug asked about last stream, and I'm like, don't play him. And he ends up getting ruled out. That's how powerful I am. Isaiah Stewart under 12.5 PRAs. Good on PrizePicks, good on Underdog, good on DraftKings for the Stewart under. Last but not least, Trey Lyles under 14.5 PRAs. Good on your pick'em sites, not on your sports books. Trey Lyles under 14.5 PRAs on PrizePicks and Underdog. A lot more bets at Unabated, a lot more sports books as well. Get it for yourself. Great tool, of course, to help me put on the show. And if you want to get better at betting, you want to use the NBA projections, get that proprietary leg up, or you just want to use their market data for other sports like college basketball, NHL, whatever, you do that for yourself. But it is a great product made by professional bettors. Really can't recommend it enough. And they've been a great partner to me, and they'll be a great partner to your pocketbook. If you hit the link down below, get 20% off. Let's go to Stokastic next, the last stage of our journey here. All right. They haven't updated. So, well, fuck me then, huh? All right, well, we're going to get a read on what Stokastic data thinks here, but from their data updated at 12 o'clock, basically, at noon East Coast time. So, well, if you want to see Unabated, link down below, 20% off. If you want updated Stokastic data, well, you're going to have to pay for that. Get 15% off, link down below. Sorry. Of course, I'm sure it'll be updated for when I hop on the deeper dive at 5 p.m. in about 10 minutes. But right now, no update in, so we'll see what they have from the previous sim, I guess. This is going to be a stupid part of things. I'll go through it fast. And do subscribe down below if you're watching this video. Hit the like button. Goes a long way for me here. Just one guy running this channel. YouTube's algorithm makes it real hard for live video content to get where it needs to go. But you're here, and I want to see people like you here. So please hit the like button. Please subscribe. It does matter a lot. But here's your ads. Do something here. Anyway. Look, most of these players for Stokastic still going to be relevant. I know that for a fact. I just like when, we get the fresh update. I go, oh, here's what they do. Here's where they differ. Ha, ha, ha. So funny. We're all so similar, yet so different is what I say to Stokastic's data. And no, we're not gonna get the full update here. But I'm going to drink my Diet Coke. I think I've earned it. If you think I've earned it, hit that like button. I think I haven't earned it. I think that's hurtful. I think everybody deserves a sip of Diet Coke sometimes. Sexy construction workers, most notably. Our president, I think he enjoys a good DC. One of his better takes. Oh, gosh. Let's stretch it out. Let's get ready. Ooh, we got to do another stream. We got to talk some more basketball. This is a real sissy way to stretch. Ooh. This is what happens. The sim takes a while and the data hasn't been updated. This is me. This is my clever improv, is me stretching and making effeminate noises. When in doubt, somebody on the internet can get off to it. That's what I rely on here. Your top 150 lineups or your top lineups overall was Stokastic. And I'll highlight the ones that are no longer relevant based upon new data we have since they haven't updated. SGA, your number one ROI lineup right now. He actually only looks better. SGA, Max Christie, Chris Middleton, Max Prosper, Kevin Love, Klay Thompson, Giannis, Alex Sarr. I think that lineup would hold. I don't think it'd be the top ROI lineup. I think that one would still be valid overall. We got Keontae George, Bilal Coulibaly, Bryce Sensabaugh, Max Prosper, Alex Sarr, SGA, Chet Holmgren, Jonas Valanciunas. Well, you can't play Chet Holmgren anymore, so that's going to be a done one. This one's got Holmgren as well. Let's just skip it. Keontae George here, our number 3 lineup without Chet Holmgren. Keontae George, Anthony Edwards, Chris Middleton, Al Horford, Alex Sarr, Brandon Williams, Max Prosper, Nikola Jokic. Brandon Williams, if you don't know the name, he's the backup for the Mavs. He's probably your winner if Milwaukee blows them out. So probably don't play him. Well, don't play him in lineups with more than $1, I would think, but that's how that would go. Sissy Stretchy will keep you alive longer. Thank you for that. Diet Coke tastes like acid leaked through a Flint, Michigan water pipe. I think it's much tastier than Coke Zero. We've had this debate before, and I think nobody chimed in on the side of Coke Zero. So I'm glad to hear the other side of the aisle here on the great Diet Coke versus Coke Zero debate. Derek White here, next ROI or next highest ROI lineup. Wait, no, we read that one. Next one up is John Morant, Bilal Coulibaly, Bryce Sensabaugh, Max. This one has Holmgren too. Stokastic loves Holmgren on a slate where he's not playing. Here's another one. SGA, Bilal Coulibaly, Chris Middleton. So 2 Wizards in this one. Max Prosper, Alex Sarr, another Wizard. 3 Wizards. Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall, Mark Williams. I think you're playing 3 Wizards. You probably want a Jazz bring back, but that's fine. Another one here. Kason Wallace, Bilal Coulibaly, Bryce Sensabaugh, Keyshawn George, Kevin Love, SGA, Max, and Nikola Jokic. I'm surprised to see them like Kevin Love as much as they... Wow, same thing here. Highest ROI player, Kevin Love. Look, I went nuts on Kevin Love. I saw the... yeah, I don't know. I saw Kevin Love as a good play the other day. It was an awful play. Revenge game versus Cleveland. I don't know, but I don't trust the Kevin Love ownership. I just don't think he's going to play as much as they'll give him minutes, but there he is. Yeah, Diet Coke is paying me. I fucking wish. Max Prosper at number 2. So Kevin Love, your number 1 RO guy. Max Prosper at number 2. Again, this is before the data update, but these guys I think would still be pretty high ROI players. Kyle Anderson at number 3. I don't trust the minutes, but he's definitely going to get some with Khalil Ware out again. Vince Williams, number 4. Brandon Williams, number 5. The minimum salary, backup Mavs point guard. Alex Sarr at number 6 and Bilal Coulibaly number 7. Most of these guys are still going to look like appealing plays when Stokastic updates everything. Highest exposure players right now in Stokastic's top 150 with some data in need of an update. So Alex Sarr, 67%, 2x the field. Chris Middleton, 57%, almost 2x the field. Really big pro Chris Middleton stand, which I'm happy to see. Does really project well per minute. The issue is just, can the minutes get high enough? Bryce Sensabaugh, 52% compared to the field's 48%, so not a big stand there, but half your lineups with Bryce Sensabaugh with Stokastic data. Chet Holmgren's not playing, so that's going to change, but they liked him a lot. I would hope they like Hartenstein more now. Max, 4x the field on Max Prosper, 42% compared to the field's 14%. Keontae George, 39% compared to 29%. So big stand in favor of him, assuming that he does play. If he is out, Utah, everybody's in play. Bilal Coulibaly, 33% compared to 17%, so 2x the field on Coulibaly. Highest leverage guys, Sarr, Max, Kevin Love, Chris Middleton. Oh, well. Enough time for me to get it right for the deeper dive. Chet Holmgren, who will not be playing, Bilal Coulibaly, Vince Williams. And your most negative leverage plays, Spencer Dinwiddie, who I agree should be less owned. Field's going to be playing about half their lineups, so Kasich wants you to get him at 31%. Oscar Shibwe, negative 15% leverage. They really don't want you to play him at all, only 1%. Keyshawn George, negative 13%. Kyle Filipowski, negative 12%. I like Filipowski more than they're giving me in the sim. Jared Allen, negative 11. Justin Champagny, not Julian. Justin, negative 10% leverage for him. And Damian Lillard, a rounded up negative 10% with Giannis coming in. Giannis owned with the field at 18%. So they don't really want to play Lillard or Giannis too much. All right. That's a slate for right now, guys. I'll give you some updates on the deeper dive in 6 minutes on Stokastic's channel, and I'll give you guys my splash plays in one moment. Before I do, one last quick run through our shilling here. Please go check out Stokastic, 15% off, the only deal they have on their sims, their data, whatever you want from Stokastic. It's 15% off, linked down below, so check it out for yourself. Unabated, same thing there. Their projections, their betting data, their simulation tools, it's all 20% off, linked down below, so check it out with promo code SPLASH, our friends at Unabated. And of course, guys, make sure to gamble. Actually, no, I say this part at the end. My splash plays for I'll make sure to subscribe. That's a big one. Subscribe. Splash over my face. Subscribe down below. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. We're so close to 1,000 subs. I want to get there, and only you can help me get to this point. I don't have any more channels to subscribe on, so please subscribe down below. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. All right, my splash plays for the day. Let me just sort one more time. I think Max Christie absolutely has to be one. Really above anybody else. In terms of value plays, I think Keon Ellis would still be one as well. He's going to come up a good amount for me. Chris Middleton, I do want to be with the field on. He'll be in a lot of my lineups, even though I don't want to fully die on that hill. Tristan Vukovic, I'm intrigued by his minimum salary value. Think he's worth as much ownership as Oscar Tshiebwe is probably. Besides those guys, I will get to Thunder, guys. We'll get to SGA as a pay-up option. Really, Jokic, Giannis, going to be guys I get to a good amount today, so I will be paying up all the way up top. I think that's enough to give you a player pool here. Hartenstein, I'll get more in the field of him. That's another one that's more of a cheap play or a mid-range play. That's it, guys. That's the slate. It's going to be a lot of shit moving around here. Pay attention to the entire slate. Leave some flexibility heading into the late games. And I'll be on the deeper dive in a moment, guys. So I'll see you guys there. Gamble responsibly. Always money time here. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play NBA. I'll be back tomorrow again, 4 p.m. So I'll see you guys there. Enjoy your days. Good luck, and bye-bye.